Does anybody remember Donglegate? This happened a couple of years back where there was this tech conference with these two guys, these two nerd autists that got fired unsummarily by their company because a woke social justice warrior woman heard them making sexually explicit jokes about dongles. And I'm worried that we're still down that same road with regards to what's happening in the tech industry or the workplace or whatnot. Recently, there was an article on Yahoo that I read. And basically what this is saying is this woman is publicized the terrible comments of some of the male employees. Now, to be fair, there was some dumb comments made, like, oh, it's too bad you're a lesbian, was one of them, I guess. And then they had to mention it was a significantly older colleague. Whatever that means, of course it could be whatever. But it just, and there was a pay gap. This is at Nintendo or something. This was from Kotaku, actually. I guess there was a pay gap. And, without knowing the full breadth of the story, I could just say, at least part of it's bullshit. And I'll tell you why. Because, for one, this whole thing about men making jokes about fucking a Pokemon character, which are two examples given in the beginning of the story. And this is so stupid and so typical of these people that bring up these types of issues. Because, for one, every guy, male, heterosexual, cisgendered person, I'll just say that. Every male that's, like that. They used to call that all-American male, by the way, back in the 80s and 90s. You're an all-American male, man. You like to eat steak and you like to bang on chicks. Oh, man, you're so cool, dude. So this whole idea that making jokes about Pokemon characters, like I guess one was a young Paimon or something, and she's so offended by it because that's a young character. And it's like the guys made a joke on a Reddit post or something, about how it was okay, even though they were a younger character, it's okay to fantasize. Now, the funny thing is I've made similar jokes about things in the past with male colleagues, maybe not in a workplace setting, because I think that is inappropriate. So I think that they should be, pushed back on, or negative feedback about that, warnings given and stuff, because that's not appropriate for the workplace. Now, but the article that I'm in question talking about puts it like this is this egregious offense of men talking about cartoon characters or manga characters, or fucking, I almost said MAGA, I guess, or like anime or whatever. It's like, isn't there a part of Wayne's World where like Wayne asked Garth if he ever wanted to bang Bugs Bunny when he dressed in drag? This shit has just gotten out of hand. Like, there's a difference between a woman, with her gripes or whatever, talking about getting paid $3 less than her male colleagues. There's a substantial difference between that and complaining about joking about fucking Pokemon characters with men. Now, obviously, I don't think it's appropriate. I don't know the full context of how this happened and how she got aware of this, but the problem is that we're living in a society where everybody wants to complain about sexuality in some type of way. And it's not only from the left, especially, it is from the left a lot of the time, but it's like just anything that's like outside, it's almost a puritanical kind of movement. And it almost makes these people seem like arch conservatives, these people that are complaining, oh my God, there was a joke made about a dongle being a penis or a vagina. Oh my God, it's so offensive. I'm just gonna, it's so sexist. Oh my God. It's like people are so full of this vitriol towards any kind of like thing that's been normal for probably hundreds of thousands of years. People have made dick jokes. People have made jokes about fucking a cartoon character, probably since like they probably made, probably like in the 20s when cartoons were in the theaters, but they were silent cartoons. There's like, I'd fuck Minnie Mouse anytime. Oh, I'd make love. Oh, gosh darn it, I'd make love to Minnie Mouse anytime. Would you, or would you prefer olive oil? It's like one of the dumbest things ever that people are complaining about that. And that's what really irked me about this article. And it's one thing to say there's serious grievances from this person towards these male colleagues and stuff, and just complaining about this tech industry. I've heard time and time again, oh my God, it's so sexist. It's like, okay, well, let's see why it's sexist. Why is that sexist? Why is like joking about a cartoon's attractiveness sexist? Why is that bad, and why is that offensive? Why is someone, not to mention why is someone so offended by it? Like, they could be like, yeah, that's stupid and juvenile and it's dumb and, kind of base or whatever, but not based, but base. It's a different term. Based, man. Everything's based. Everyone's based. I just don't get it. This whole cultural phenomenon of people just like, just freaking out over all this stupid shit, and it's just dumb. Or maybe they'll give her a safe space with teddy bears now, or something like that. But yeah, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever read in that article. Obviously, like if they would have they were onto something. Like if they would have said like, oh, there were some inappropriate jokes and it added to this, and it added to her feeling alienated because she was making less than the men, so it wasn't fair and this stuff. If they made the narrative a little bit more congealed in this way. But the fact of the matter is, it just reminded me of Donglegate and all these times when people are saying everything's sexist all the time, and like you can't enjoy anything anymore because it's called sexist or rape culture or whatever, 16 Candles isn't a great movie. There's no doubt about it's not a great film. I don't think it's great. I mean, there's better John Hughes movies and there's better Molly Ringwald movies, for like Pretty in Pink for one. But the fact that it's so targeted for this, I mean, obviously I understand where they're coming from, but the rapey element of it with the girl that's passed out, obviously there's problems with that. I agree. But this whole notion is that this girl is like really stuck up, and I don't know, I kind of defeated my own point of view about it. I'd say that people are freaking out because the comedy comes from the idea that he's going out and he's gonna take this girl out, and then they end up having sex, and she ends up liking it or whatever, and she's drunk or whatever. I think it's fucked up, don't get me wrong, but like there's other situations like that, like in Revenge of the Nerds, for example. Now I think Revenge of the Nerds, honestly, why am I talking about Revenge of the Nerds? I don't know all this got to Revenge of the Nerds. Like the scene where the nerd rapes the sorority girl or whatever. There is a purpose for that narrative in that movie. It fits with the narrative of this is kind of like these villains and the nerds, like nerds versus villains. It's like almost like a revenge kind of thing. Now the fact that he's raping her because she doesn't know who she thinks it's her boyfriend, that is obviously problematic, but not like 16 Candles problematic. I think it's almost like it almost shows this point, like the guy, obviously she enjoyed it, even though technically I guess you could say she's being assaulted. I guess, I mean, yes she is, but like there's a gray area there. Nobody wants to talk about that nuance or gray area with any of these situations. And when you're talking about guys joking, that's what really the egregious thing is to me about these people making these kinds of complaints. It's like, am I going to have to watch it in public if I make a bad joke? Like someone will probably try to spray me with mace or something, or even my stand-up, which I actually just got done with another rough draft of today or yesterday evening. So am I going to feel like, oh, I'm going to probably get protested, you know, I'm going to probably get canceled before I'm out of the gate, because considering how people are nowadays. But do I give a shit? No, I don't care. It's so stupid. And it's just, I'm offended by the fact that someone would be offended by something like a joke about fucking a Pokemon character. Who gives a flying shit fuck? Who cares? I mean, I've made jokes about, you know, me and my friends used to make jokes, really bad jokes about, like, you know, like what kind of, like, you know, sexual position a late night, like, TV preacher would, like, talk about that, you know, like the shit on his mouth or something, or, you know, I'd like to, or, you know, some ugly lady, or I'd like to, you know, her nose looks good to stick your dick in, or whatever. Oh my God, this is going to be totally, like, bad for YouTube algorithms, but I don't care. It's just so stupid. It's just like, we used to make jokes about people. We used to make jokes about developmentally disabled people, which, you know, in hindsight, it's a little bit gross, obviously, but everybody did it, and people still do it, and you're not going to fucking regulate society's sense of humor. And I don't make, you know, Down syndrome jokes or anything like that anymore. Now, I used to, I'll admit it. You know, there was a lot of stuff I did. I laugh about it now. I still laugh at it, okay? Because it was funny in this weird way, and it was weird, you know? I mean, when you see, I'll just put it this way. I'm going to give away, I don't know if I'm going to use this in my bit, but for example, you see, like, someone that's my age or older, if they're, you know, developmentally disabled, right? And they're, like, playing with some kind of big, you know, like, plush toy or something, and, like, giggling like a kid. The two images they contradict, so that's why it's funny. That's why those people are funny unintentionally, because it's this conflict of images in your head, this type of twisting, this twisted kind of thing. Obviously, it's for reasons, but, you know, you see some you know, older guy that's you know, I'm not going to say the word, you know, what they traditionally use the R word for, but that's why it's funny. And it's not because of their condition. It's because their condition is making them do certain things that are unintentionally funny. That's why. And they're out of the ordinary for what you see every day. Like weird noises and shit. People make weird noises. My friend one of my best friends used to make these weird noises because there was this kid in high school that was on the first floor, which was the floor. He was actually really intelligent. I think it was just kind of a neurological thing where he wasn't able to talk, but he used to make these noises. I couldn't stop laughing. It was hilarious. The guy nailed the guy's voice. It was kind of scary. No, sorry, I was just kidding. It's like really one of those things. So when these people get offended by everything, you know, these fucking they're modern day like busybodies, and they're modern day Puritans, basically. They want to censor and stamp out anything we say or think. It's like, what are we supposed see? What's the alternative? What are we supposed to do? They don't really talk about that much. You know, like back in the day, all right, I'll say like someone like Lacey Green might have been bashed for being like an SJW. If you know who she is. She's like an MTV star / like sexologist kind of girl and woman or whatever, you know, whatever you want to call her. But she actually, like, at least like in her videos and her career, she talked about alternatives to things. But a lot of these people are just attack, and they won't talk about alternative. What are we supposed to be doing? You know, and some of the alternatives are lame, like that one guy that bashed the pickup industry, and he's like, just go out and give girls your number. Oh, let's give a bunch of girls you like your number. This guy's a total white knight moron, but you know, it is what it is. So, but yeah, it's stupid. And this article it just irks me because of those parts of it, and it's just like this sensationalist like focus on these things that they're making money from these articles. and they're making, they're making money from all the grievances people have. It's feeding the beast itself, and they could have a better way of looking at these things. And I don't know if the woman's claims are true or not. I mean, who the fuck knows, and if someone, if there's a trial or something, and if she comes out looking like a moron, then whatever. It's so dumb. It's like, I got a lot of things to say about this subject, obviously, I'm going to do some stuff. I've been getting into a new podcast, or a newish podcast. And I'm going to talk about what one of these women say in this podcast, and about Me Too and so forth. But that's about all.